Keir Starmer lied. He should resign now. I think it smells like a bit like a cover-up. They're refusing to say if Keir Starmer misled MPs. And you're defending him.
Yeah, because he's a terrible leader. Sue Gray moved. McSweeney sacked. He is losing aides and supporters left, right and centre. That is not the sign of a good leader.
This is the real bombshell from the committee hearing.
James, we have to do this emergency Expresso episode today because Olly Robbins has been testifying to MPs at Parliament's Foreign Affairs Select Committee. What's being said?
JJ, it's crazy. I think Keir Starmer should resign today, frankly. Some of the stuff that's come out in this committee meeting is nuts. Olly Robbins, who's basically the top Mandarin in the Foreign Office for a time.
Was the top Mandarin
in the Foreign Office for quite a time. Goes in after they start vetting Peter Mandelson's appointment. He's basically said to MPs, and he's been fired for failing to flag it to Starmer, supposedly. And he's told MPs that Number 10 put him under constant pressure to clear Peter Mandelson's appointment in time for Donald Trump's inauguration, regardless of what may or may not have come up during the process. I mean, JJ, what did you think of it all?
I think that Starmer isn't going to resign over this. I think he's actually played a blinder, Starmer. He went and gave evidence the day before. It'd be much more difficult for Starmer to have gone in second after Olly Robbins when the committee would have more information and more questions for him. So Starmer went in, gave his explanation. I don't think it's going to come across like he's misled. He's still sticking to his story, Starmer, that Olly Robbins didn't tell him. And Olly Robbins is saying he didn't tell Starmer. Okay, he can say that Number 10 put pressure on him to push Mandelson through, and Starmer had announced that Mandelson was going to be the US ambassador before the vetting had come back through. Okay, yeah. And Starmer's saying, that is what happened.
I think it smells like a bit like a cover-up, JJ, to be honest.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, why are Number 10 putting so much pressure on Mandelson to be appointed at pace, right? Because they just want things to get motored through the system without any questions asked. And then this is an amazing quote that's come out. Apparently, this is what Morgan McSweeney said. Just effing appoint Mandelson. That was apparently his instructions, and they talked about it during this committee hearing, and Emily Thornberry dropped the full F-bomb. We're not going to do that because we're a family show.
Correct.
But Morgan McSweeney apparently told Foreign Office officials, just effing appoint Peter Mandelson. And this is obviously while problems are being raised. So, yeah, JJ, to me, this smells like a cover-up.
Here's what I think about McSweeney. He was an acolyte of Mandelson. You know, it's a bit like you trying to get me a job when at your next gig, wherever that may be. You trying to get me a job. You know, McSweeney looked up to Mandelson.
Iceland.
McSweeney looked up to Mandelson. Mandelson had taught him a lot. He learned a lot from the man. Also, McSweeney was. I'm going to say in love. I don't mean literally in love, but he was a great admirer of Tony Blair and Alistair Campbell, that whole cabal of important political figures who Mandelson was a part of. McSweeney was loyal to those people, and I think McSweeney perhaps was trying to get Mandelson in as a favour, trying to impress his former masters, and that's why he was desperate to push it ahead. Because here's the thing with McSweeney. People forget, he's there because Sue Gray was moved on, right? I think if Sue Gray had been in charge, and maybe Starmer's regretting this now, having moved her to something like Ambassador of Nations or something. She got some fluffy title. She wasn't fired. She was moved to a different role, still on the payroll. If Sue Gray was in charge, I don't think Starmer would be in as much trouble as this. She was, from what I know of Sue Gray and what I know from people who know her, she was honest and diligent, very much in the same way that Olly Robbins is seen to be honest and diligent and sticking to the rules. McSweeney clearly was not that honest nor that competent.
I don't think any of them are honest or diligent. Sue Gray had years to come up with a plan for government, and look what's happened. I mean, economy's in the toilet. Starmer's already set to resign, probably by the end of this week, or certainly next, perhaps. It's really, really going terribly for all of them. And I mean, just to get back to sort of the main story. This sort of cover up basically of Mandelson's past, and the fact that he wasn't flagged or
a conspiracy theory.
I love a conspiracy theory.
Cover up.
Watch a day Daily Express YouTube channel for more. Yeah, mate, it's clearly a cover-up. I mean, they've basically gone to officials and said, just speak this through, we don't care. Mandelson was hanging out with Epstein. Yeah. I mean, that's the core of the story is Mandelson was hanging out with Epstein, and Starmer, with his terrible judgment, and Morgan McSweeney, with his just absolute, just sycophantic love of Blairites, decided, oh, never mind, we'll appoint him anyway.
Yeah. Yeah,
we'll appoint him anyway. A guy who hung out with the world's most notorious, most evil paedophile.
Oh, yeah. And don't forget, Mandelson had interests in Russia. You know, he was being paid by a very powerful Russian company. He had links to China. All of those are red flags. Nobody should be in any kind of power in government when you have ties to Putin, unfortunately. And the Labour top brass knew this, and they pushed it ahead anyway. I don't think it's some big shady conspiracy theory. I don't think it's I still don't think there's a big cover up now. I think McSweeney pushed hard, and Starmer really trusted McSweeney and thought, this guy is a genius. If he's saying he wants Mandelson in charge, then I'm going to put Mandelson in charge. Because as we saw, as we've read, previously, the fact of the Epstein conversation didn't happen between Mandelson and Starmer. Starmer had never asked Mandelson, why are you friends with Epstein? Like, what's going on there now? Are you still friends? They've had a conversation about it. So, and even after he was made ambassador, Starmer never said to Mandelson, get your ass over here to London. I want to know everything that you've learned in your first month over in the US. What does Trump like? What does he hate? How can we woo him over? What business deals can we get from him? There's none of that. So I don't think it was Starmer. I think it was McSweeney.
Morgan McSweeney. Do you think that's why he's left?
Yes, but it's telling for Starmer. Who did he have around him? Where Sugray moved, McSweeney sacked. He is losing aides and supporters left, right, and centre. Yeah. That is not the sign of a good leader.
No. And well, it's interesting you say that, because following on from Olly Robbins' committee hearing, there's been some interesting reaction. So Yvette Cooper said she was none too happy with some of the information that came out, and said she was extremely concerned. This is the current Foreign Secretary.
Yes.
Kemi Badenoch, she says this is devastating for Starmer, and she's suggesting he's misled the House. You're saying you don't think he has misled the House, but
yeah, I don't think he's knowingly misled the House. And Kemi Badenoch, you know, I'm a big fan of Kemi Badenoch, big fan. The same Kemi Badenoch who's now calling for Starmer to resign is the same Kemi Badenoch who defended Boris Johnson and Partygate and said it's been overblown. So sorry, Kemi Badenoch. While people were dying in hospitals and people were locked in their homes and people weren't allowed to go down the pub with their friends or whatever else and see their family and see their sick members of the family, Johnson was having parties at Downing Street, having garden parties, leaving drinks. Oh, well, there was a diligent service person, so we had to have leaving drinks. Oh, it was just a birthday cake. They surprised me with it. No, sorry. That doesn't cut it. And this is the problem with politics. It's full of politicians. A bunch of hypocrites. So now she's going to say, yeah, Starmer's got to resign. Yep. But it was different when it was Bojo misleading the public and the government.
It's amazing how angry you are about his birthday cake still. I mean, come on, dude. Get over it. It's been like 6 years. You are right. Of course, they're all hypocrites and they're all kind of very cynical. What do you make of this, though? Number 10, being asked by journalists, has Keir Starmer misled the House, yes or no? They say, we're not going to answer yes or no questions. They're refusing to say if Keir Starmer misled MPs.
And they say, this is you being...
And you're defending him. You're doing a better job than his comms people.
This is you being a journalist. What they asked is, did Keir Starmer knowingly mislead? And that's a big difference. Did he mislead Parliament? Or did he knowingly mislead Parliament? There's a big difference there. And they're asking if he knowingly misled, and they're saying, well, we can't answer that right now. I'm sure they'll give an answer when the time's right. And again... why am I the one here defending Labour?
So interesting. So an interesting point. You say, Starmer probably knew nothing about any of this.
Yeah, because he's a terrible leader.
Mandelson, I believe, was interviewed for a podcast around January in which he complained about the speed of government vetting processes. So the guy who's pushing for Mandelson to get into post as soon as possible, whilst that person is publicly complaining about how long the vetting process is lasting, knew nothing about the Mandelson vetting process.
Yeah,
can someone? You believe that? Yeah,
I do believe that. I do. Honestly, I do.
I've got a bridge.
I tell you why I believe it. The reason I believe that Starmer did not knowingly mislead anyone in this is because I think he's a very poor manager. He apparently was a fantastic lawyer, but managing people, having an interest in people, and having curiosity to ask the right questions, the pertinent questions, Starmer's no good at that. That's pretty clear. I think if Kemi Badenoch was Prime Minister, I think she'd be over all the details. Starmer picks and chooses what parts he's interested in and what he thinks he needs to know and what he doesn't need to know. And he has people around him, like when he did have McSweeney, who he thought, oh, McSweeney's trustworthy. He can do all of those things. I don't need to know anything about him. If he says I should have Lord Mandelson.
The impression's getting worse every week.
So I do genuinely think that he didn't know anything about it because McSweeney was all over it. So Starmer could concentrate on trying to sell off
Chagos Islands.
Yeah, Chagos Islands.
Yeah,
Trying to figure out how we can lose a few billion from our coffers.
I think it's as simple as this. Keir Starmer lied. He should resign now. It's over for him. It's completely over for Starmer.
Our grooming gangs investigation is huge. It's massive. If you haven't watched it yet, go and watch it. It's on our YouTube channel. Zach Garner-Perkins does a fantastic job. Starmer should resign over that. That's much more serious. It has much wider implications. He didn't resign over that. He ain't going to resign over this. But when he will resign, I think, will be after the local elections when Labour decimated, and that's when you're going to see the knives coming out from all of the runners who wish to be the next Prime Minister.
There's already some reports elsewhere in the press, people sort of saying Labour MPs are selling their Starmer stocks. I mean, God, I hate these people in Westminster. They're sort of selling their Starmer stocks and investing in Andy Burnham. Is the sort of whispers around Westminster already. I mean, Jesus Christ.
The one thing that's come out from this Sir Olly Robbins, what would you call it? I was going to say Olly Robbins inquiry. It's not an inquiry.
Scandal.
The scandal.
Committee hearing.
But yeah, the one thing that's come out of the hearing that I do think Starmer needs to roll over for is that Starmer had wanted to bring in people who were not suited to be diplomats. He was trying to give jobs, diplomatic jobs, to people whom Olly Robbins says were not the right people for these jobs. And experienced career diplomats were being pushed out and left out of work because of Starmer and Number 10's insistence on giving... It was jobs for the boys.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
And this is, JJ, this is the real bombshell from the committee hearing, which actually has been massively glossed over by a lot of the media, not by us. Hear this. Starmer wanted a diplomatic appointment for this man called Lord Doyle. This guy was suspended from Labour, an MP suspended by Labour over his links to a convicted paedophile.
Yeah.
Keir Starmer has a pedo problem.
Yeah.
He really does.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right. It's funny. God, I can't. My brain has gone to mush today. Under Jeremy Corbyn, Labour had an anti-Semitism problem. Under Starmer, Labour have a paedophile problem.
Yeah. Which would you take? 50-50. Which one are you taking?
Either way, it's bad.
Oh,
either way,
it's horrendous. It's horrendous.
And your man there, Olly Robbins, said during the committee hearing today, he said he had noticed that this had been part of a creep of senior diplomatic roles going to non-career diplomats. It was difficult for me personally, honestly, as a leader, to explain why very talented and experienced diplomats were having to leave the organisation, and people who would be widely considered to have rather fewer credentials will be input in these important jobs. Now, if we're talking about the Conservatives in power, and whether it's Theresa May, Cameron, Boris Johnson, or Sunak, or Liz Truss for her 50 days, giving out jobs to their mates, we would be saying this is corruption at the highest level, this is elitism, it's the rich staying rich, yada, 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 yada. This Labour government was supposed to be completely different. They're going to be honest. It was going to be about hard work, working people, and all we're getting now is that they are Tory 2.0.
No, you're completely right.
They are no different to the old Tories.
But that's not what people like John Sopel and Andrew Marr were telling us, right? They're like, oh, finally a government of the competence. Oh, yeah. Oh, right, yeah, it's really good, yeah. Thank God we've got these people in office.
John Sopel, it's not like me to attack other journalists.
No, go for it. We need views.
That's not my nature. But John Sopel wrote an opinion piece when Mandelson was being touted as the American ambassador. He wrote an opinion piece that basically said, oh, it's a bit of a risk, but it's a very smart move, and Mandelson is the right person for the job. And now, today, what's John Sopel saying? I can't believe that Mandelson was appointed as US ambassador. It's the hypocrisy across the left knows no bounds.
They're just utterly shameless.
Yeah,
They're
really are.
utterly shameless.
They make normal lefties like me look like loons.
It's the whole problem with Westminster. It's like you're saying about the Tories and Labour, and you talk about journalists in Westminster as well. A lot of them, there's very notable exceptions, of course, at the Express as well, but a lot of them are just so clubby.
Yeah.
They're so clubby. They're looking out for each other.
Yeah.
They're kissing each other's backsides.
Yeah.
The Fourth Estate is doing nothing to hold Parliament to account.
Yeah.
And the representatives of our country. It's all just a big club.
Yeah.
They're all just pals.
They are.
They're all just looking out for each other. And what Olly Robbins was saying about the sort of senior experienced diplomats being pushed aside for Keir Starmer's mates, it's a huge problem. It's just jobs. It's so much of government is just, we're going to appoint someone into a hugely important ministerial portfolio who is thick as mince.
Yeah.
Because they're my mate.
Yeah.
Because they back my leadership campaign.
Yeah.
Because they donated, or their husband's friend. Sorry,
Yeah.
husband's friend donated. Yeah, it's possible. Donated 20 grand to the party, or whatever it may be. There's also a deeper problem with the civil service. Olly Robbins was talking about senior diplomats being looked over. There is a deep problem with the civil service of very experienced people who are great at certain roles or understand the portfolio really well being shunted around, right?
Yeah.
It's not just Parliament.
Yeah.
It's Whitehall as well. And the fact that, today that he was defending some of the processes, I will say one bad thing against Olly Robbins, he's defending these processes and stuff that keep people anonymous and all these sort of guardrails and bits of red tape. These guys just... They've been drinking the Kool-Aid for too long, haven't they? They love their bureaucracy.
Yeah.
They love red tape. They love processes. Get rid of them. It's stupid. Anyway.
I would say, maybe a final thing, that from hearing him speak today, Olly Robbins seems honest, sincere, and competent. He said he loved the job. It was the greatest honour of his career to do that job, and he wishes he was still working there. Even after all of this, he wishes he was still there. It's a shame that we are losing good, talented people like that from government, and there's probably no way back for him now, unfortunately. He can go to the private sector, make a killing, but we need good, talented people, honest people in the civil service. And now, because of Starmer and his terrible team of advisors, we've now lost one.
That's pity, isn't it? I'd love to know what the readers think of all this.
Yeah, and listeners and viewers as well.
Yeah.
Because no one's reading this episode.
Yeah. Let's do that again.
No. Leave your comments. Tell us what you think. Also, like, share, subscribe, and hit the hype button. But let us know what you think about Starmer, Olly Robbins, the state of government. Do you think Starmer deliberately misled government? I don't think he did. I just think he's incompetence. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye-bye for now.